everyone chooses to ignore the Keepers.
There's an entire quest in Mass Effect about investigating the Keepers. While it's true the majority of people ignore them, we could say the same about just about anything in any space opera. Also, the quest is considered illegal, so being a Spectre, you're doing it purely for investigation purposes. It's also one of the first you get after arriving on the Presidium. The main problem with people ignoring the Keepers isn't because after talking to Vigil, we discover they're Reaper's puppets. That's part of a larger we don't believe in Reapers issue. It's that this quest and your choice to complete it doesn't impact the trilogy at all. And no, EMS points don't count. This could have been a linchpin in counteracting the Reapers when they hit the Milky Way, but the series had another direction to go.
Space battles should be dead silent.
If a story is trying to be a hard science fiction, then yes, it should do it properly.
Everyone ignores the Reaper threat, even after Sovereign.
This is where the author gets a little confused.
However, after Sovereign, a Reaper, attacks the Citadel in full view of the galaxy, you'd think that more people would start listening to Shepard and start taking the Reaper threat seriously.
The Council believed that it was simply a Geth ship, so everyone bought that story. However, this says nothing of actual evidence that we have. A. Everyone's suit recordings of talking to Vigil and Sovereign, as evidenced by Ashley's comments on it. B. Getting any Asari to scan Shepard's nightmarish mind visions, which makes us ask why Liara or Shiala didn't start telling or sharing their mind evidence with everyone, like the Asari counselor. C. The pieces of Sovereign after its defeat. The story alludes and tries to lampshade this, but doesn't offer a decent explanation, which is somewhat lampshaded again in the Leviathan DLC. We're talking about a gigantic ship blown to pieces, large pieces, and they couldn't ask one stray Quarian, yeah, it's this Geth tech, right? Or waiting around for a week until one of them started hearing voices. And D, Shepard using his cipher to read and decipher all Prothean data in the galaxy, which would undeniably tell the story of the Reapers. All sorts of people researching the Protheans from every species would eventually go nuts over this reveal.
Alien cultures are alarmingly similar to humans.
I'll give him this one, as this is a touchy subject. Too alien, and it's hard to relate or understand characters. That could be the goal. But it's too similar, and it's not believable that characters coming from another part of the galaxy would be exactly the same as us, or in various ways. And there's just enough information on alien species in the Mass Effect Codex to make them unique enough. This would jump into world building for the sake of it, and that's just more unnecessary fluff.
Kai Leng was unnecessary.
Except on this point.
And when you really think about the fact that you don't even get a proper in-game confrontation against Kai Leng in the form of a full-fledged boss fight, you realize that Kai Leng really served no real purpose to the game, be it from a story perspective or from a gameplay perspective.
Yes, you do fight Kai Leng. You literally have to fight him in a boss fight.
Most planets have human-friendly environments.
If by human-friendly you mean needing to wear your spacesuit almost everywhere you land in Mass Effect's Uncharted worlds, then no, they don't. Mass Effect 2 just makes it stupid with nearly everyone wearing breathing masks. And air pressure, what's that about? Although I would have liked to see differences in gravity, especially since gravity is a big deal in this universe.
Miranda's sister is annoyingly incompetent.
This really isn't a fault of the story, it's just Oriana's role in it. Just because one is a twin sister doesn't mean she's going to have all the phenotypes of the twin, or the intelligence, or the upbringing, or the personality, amidst other different things. She's a dramatic device for Miranda, and since she's not a fighter, gets easily controlled in the third game by her father. Now, would I have liked to have twin badass Mirandas running around doing hot, awesome crap? Yeah, of course. However, genetics wasn't really a major theme in this story, and she's a side character, so it's not that big a deal. Being a damsel twice in both games is also not a big deal since both scenarios were composed relatively well.
Omnigel makes no sense.
I'm going to agree on a few levels, but I chalk this up to gameplay and story segregation. It's egregious when Legion and EDI are in the party, and it's best when there's lots of lore dumps and how this stuff works. The company involved in making it, and the whole Bastion class specialization in the first game. Would I have liked more information? A whole mechanic around healing, a healer support class throughout the series? Sure. Health packs and their believability are always a problem in video games, so I can't really give too much fault to it, as Mass Effect does more than most games do to explain their existence and function.
Shepard has to pay for Spectre gear.
This is a non-issue, and it actually works with the attitude the Council has with Shepard or humans in general. In fact, the more barriers to entry to becoming a Spectre and maintaining that and That would have been great. You pay for gear, you pay for membership, you have standard tests you have to go and prove yourself. I think that would have worked.
There was no need to resurrect Shepard in Mass Effect 2.
Unless it was stated that Shepard's visions and Cypher were integral to the story, then the author is exactly correct.
There was no need to kill Shepard in Mass Effect 2.
Depending, the reasons he gives are kind of bad. Shepard was killed for dramatic purposes and to give some silly gameplay explanation for resetting stats and being able to customize one's face again. All of this could have been done with Shepard just dying in space or going into a coma as opposed to dying via planetary re-entry and the unbelievable lack of not exploding when hitting a planet's surface at tens of thousands of kilometers an hour, and having their exposed bodies dissolve in the thick atmosphere of methane and ammonia on Alkera. Like the previous point, Shepard was killed in too extreme a way and brought back just as stupidly, for no reason. When the game and the author states correctly, they could have raised an army and taken care of the Collector threat easily. Additionally, the method for working with Cerberus, and continuing to do so, was just poor railroading.
All species fight for Earth at the end.
This is a rather weak point. They reluctantly and eventually do so. The Batarians eventually do, same with the Hanar, same with the Asari, same with everyone. The main problem is that's kind of the point of the story. Where this should have happened is in the second game, but Shepard goes around solving an entire species' problems just to get them to unite and fight the big bad. There's also the idea of being completely outnumbered, of the failure of the Protheans trying the same thing, and all attempts at fighting the nearly impossible enemy is kind of a moot point anyway. Mass Effect 3 puts its faith in two Deus Ex Machina devices because it doesn't even know what the heck it's doing.
Why doesn't the Catalyst move the Citadel much earlier?
The path to madness. This is one about a few or so dozen questions you'd have, but anything that has the word catalyst in it is automatically a bad idea and will drive you nuts. Why didn't the Catalyst just lock down all the relays? Why didn't the Catalyst help Sovereign when it could? Why didn't the Catalyst build his own crucible? Blah, blah, blah. It's the worst Deus Ex Machina ending in the history of storytelling.
The Reapers bring the Citadel to Earth.
Same as the previous, just don't go there. In over their heads, pinning themselves into a corner, no talent, no skill, no planning, all the above, take your pick.